But yeah, of course, if you guys are just tuning in, BAM last year was a pretty stacked event. This year also stacked. We got players from Korea, we got players from Japan. Really much of an impact.
258, 56?
That sounds like a lot of people.
So these guys, their team name is Glewstyx. They spell it weird.
Okay.
And yeah, they're from PNG. There's a small fighting scene over there. They love their gaming, but the internet is really bad. As long as you get some and you don't get hit, that's all that matters. Wait, a rage
Did he hit a button?
Did he press a button?
Oh my God!
He's not dead. He's not, oh my God.
I mean, look, he's got a small pixel. I don't think he's dead.
Yeah, hi. My name is Michael Arifia, better known in the gaming world of PNG as Mala. I remember this story, like the back of my hand. 10 years, a decade of PNG's first ever fighting game team to ever come about. A person truly does a lot of things with 10 years, especially when it comes to doing all sorts of things. So, Facebook was new at the time and people weren't really sure how to use it yet. But the only thing I used social media for was I often used it to post about this game that I played a lot called Tekken. And I remember it was during that time when I put up a post just saying that no one can beat me in this game. And I put up a prize money of 300 kina to whoever can beat me in this game. Funny enough, a friend of mine got in touch with me and told me that I found your opponent, and that was where I met Joel.
Hi guys, my name is Joel Foley, and my gamer tag is Neon Sky. So my cousin came over to my house, and then he told me there was this post on Facebook. One of his friends posted and said that he was gonna give some money to whoever that can beat him playing Tekken 6.
I didn't really... No, it's not that I didn't really think much of Joel. I was just looking for more stronger opponents because I just got tired of challenging my cousins and my brothers over and over again. Either one of us would win, and we went overseas, we played on the arcades on Time Zone and places like that. It made us got exposed to the game, So I was surprised that someone else could play like me, and he was good too.
We played a few games. I actually thought I was gonna do well, but it was the complete opposite.
Long story short, I won the match. Even though I said the winner gives me $300, Joel ended up giving me $300 in the process.
Anyway, after that day, I go back to school on Monday, and then I sit with my friends and I tell them about what happened, and they also couldn't believe what happened. So that was Isaac and Jerome.
My name is Isaac Bear. As for gamer tags, I go by many names. For this, we'll just call myself Ice. I was in Australia at the time, Brisbane, and I speak to Joel frequently. We have a WhatsApp group, and he made mention to me that he met some people who play Tekken, and I wasn't at the time. I was heavily involved in Street Fighter. I did still play Tekken. Yeah, so Joel was like, "Oh, I met some people," and so one thing led to another, and then we ended up going to NBC.
So we decided to meet again and have another challenge, but this time we agreed to having a team battle game. Here's the funny thing though, I never really played Tekken Tag 2, which was new at the time. I was still playing 6, but it was because of meeting Joel and everyone else. We decided to this time play with Tekken Tag 2. However, the version we had didn't have all the DLCs yet, and it was when we met people like Ice and Jerome. We knew that the game was a lot bigger than we thought it would be. But because it was a team match and I was the only one that played, the only people I thought of that could join me on my team at the time was my brother Bungi and of course Tom.
My name is Tom Arifia Jr. My gamer tag is Think of Me. I think I've been playing, the first time I played Tekken That would be Tekken 2. The first time I actually played Tekken 2 was back in, will either be 96, 97 or 98. And I've been playing the game ever since. It was at that point where I realized that there's a lot more people who actually play Tekken or who enjoy playing it at a higher level and not just casually. And being exposed to that, those individuals, those like-minded individuals, it kind of piqued my interest to come back into the game. And from there, I've been a little bit on and off, I'd say, but been consistent with playing Tekken competitively at least.
So it was during that time when we went over to have a few games. All of us sitting in the room had one thing in common. First and foremost, we didn't really think like everyone. I'd like to say that. Second and foremost, we all like the anime. And I'd like to say that we're the original people that like to watch anime, because everyone now, they're just watching it because it's popular. But back then, we watched it when people thought it was just some odd cartoon that came up. And we love fighting games, and we were gamers in general. And, everyone is always on the same point when it comes to doing up all sorts of things, There were some that stayed, some that left, but the strongest ones, I would say, were the ones that all of a sudden came to one point, and that was Shadow Lushola. All our parents got together, ourselves got together too as a team, and we decided to raise funds. The cool thing about that time was that, even though gaming seems popular now, there are Call of Duty people. Back then there was nobody, but there was a group that existed before Glewstyx, and that group was called Gamers Alive. And again, people like Lincoln, and they're still around the place right now. Unfortunately, they're not as active as they used to be, but I remember a lot of our support came from them. The team was set, and we were excited, and there were just four of us. It was myself, Isaac, Tom, and Joe. Going to Melbourne, it was a great time. All our families came, said goodbye to us as we made our way there.
Everyone, they seemed supportive, but I know that, in the back of their mind, they were like, oh, this is kind of odd, and it's kind of weird. I'm happy that, my family were supportive, even though I'm sure they did kind of have their doubts about what we were going and what we were getting ourselves into. We didn't know anybody from Melbourne, Australia, nobody at all. Nobody from the community or from the wider community. All we could do was just reach out to the individuals through Facebook, and they were able to give us some information, not a lot of information, and they didn't really stretch their arms out for us at that time. Everything was just a learning curve for us. Technology was there, but it's not as good as it was today. The entire journey on its own was a hard one, because it was first time for us to travel to, not necessarily travel overseas, but to travel to a new part of the country that we weren't familiar with, and that's Melbourne.
The funny thing was, back then we didn't realize how strong Australia as a community would be. We were concentrating on one player that was going there, and that player was all the way from Korea, and it happened to be Help Me. So when Help Me was there, all our focus was on him. We didn't really pay much attention to the Australia Tekken community, but I will tell you, they were no slouch. They were very strong opponents, and you could say that a lot of information we have missed along the way to do with Tekken, we kind of learned some more things when we were there again.
Even though we did the training and we went on to compete against, the other players, it was fairly evident that the level of competition, the international competition was real, like miles ahead.
And not only Help Me was there, you had people like Ryan Hart, and I think Joel has a story to do with that. You also had other gamers like Latif from Street Fighter who happened to be there. You also had, all in all, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, PNG time caused us to go late at the event. We didn't do quite well as well, but one thing was for sure, we had established Papua New Guinea to be a country that also plays Tekken. Yeah, so 2014 was a great time. We didn't do so well. It was the first time for everything. We had high expectations on how we wanted the tournament to turn out, but we lost. We were gutted by it. So we started doing tournaments at this place called Phantom Zone. You could say that Phantom Zone, we had met a lot of players. With the introduction of people like Kid Marks at that time, but he had changed his name to Laser Marks. Part of Noisy, we ran into him. We ran into also people like Saint, guys from Spectre Gaming, like Winter Soul, and people like Rake. Also, we also met Henry Torobet Jr. during that time when we were having our tournaments down at Phantom Zone. But unfortunately, Phantom Zone had closed down, and our tournaments came to 5 Mile House, which is just over there. And then, that was when we were introduced to someone who was at our level as well. That person happened to be the match test. Matt's a more younger person than we are, but he plays too sharp. I remember being at that time, I used to be the undisputed champion until my brother Tom and Matt came along, and the grand final, every time either one of them would take it.
Other avenues started to open up. People such as Toro Gaming, 675 started to run like local tournaments here, and every time there was a fighting game, we were heavily involved in it.
There was a tournament down in La Mana, and we were part of that tournament as well. NBC TV also had interviewed us during that time, and so we have seen our fair share of media, but the help still never really came our way. But I'd just like to talk about the tournament. I believe this was before Toro had opened its shop. I'm gonna believe that Toro didn't open his shop yet, and then we had that event where we had to raise funds for a good friend of ours. He's still around actually, and just so that he had a rare illness, and the tournament was put together. It had FIFA on the other side as well. I remember I had emceed the event myself, and these two people, we knew them now from that day onwards, and these two people happened to be Alan John, aka Mots, and also Thomas O'Connor, aka Daddy Reptile, aka Yoshi.
Name Lumi, Alan John. Nickname Lumi, Mods. Game tag Lum 2 is also Mods. I think the right main person where Bungim blogger Mike, so I think he was the one where me been Bungim na through lo Mike was me come the Savelo or boys too. Time we start to play on the boys, so me start understanding game. Skill level blow. It's a first time meeting also you saw to play, but then you go na you meeting a kind group also we all play long time, understanding game. Then time you go na you start one time now you start looking where you wrong now. When something you make wrong, and then you adjust it. You start improving game. If you start on the Jin, Cam, Aska, then after like Tekken 7 Cam, we still play until Jin, Aska Cam, but we switched to lane and now me main Lumiang lane.
Yeah, Mr. Mots. Mr. Mots. Mr. Mots, I would say, was one of the all-time players, Whenever there was an event, he was always there. As time went by, we introduced ourselves to him, and, he really became part of the scene as well. And again, he's one of those guys that just developed very, very quickly, Thomas O'Connor was one of those, I think coming back, he's a really, really old school player.
My name is Thomas O'Connor, and my gamer tag is Daddy Reptile. I came across them through Michael, who shared with me that he was an avid gamer and played a game which I haven't played in quite a while. Tekken, and it was good finding out that there were other people that played Tekken, because it was for a really long time that I couldn't find anyone that actually played Tekken at the same level that I do, until I found these guys. And I wasn't a gamer for quite a while until I actually my fire for gaming was sort of rekindled thanks to these guys. Who do I use? At heart, I am a Yoshimitsu main, but nowadays I pretty much picked up on a lot of characters, so I can play a handful of characters now.
Tomodachi, yeah, I think he's been part of the group for a very, very long time, much longer than many. You could say he's been part of the original group as well, and although it took a long while, it was awesome to see how he was able to grow as a player.
My name is Jack, but the guys call me Tomodachi. I've played, well, the first Tekken I ever played was Tag 1, which was around 2002 or 3, yeah, around 2002 or 3, 2013, so probably almost 20 years. Well, the first character that I ever picked up was Horang. So I used to play Horang back in Tag 1 a lot. There's no really real reason. I just like the way he did his, I think it was a two throw. Yeah, I like his two throw, and so it looked cool. That's why I was like, all right, I'll pick this guy since he looks cool. But then as I kept on playing the game, I started moving away from Horang and going into other characters like Lily and Alisa, Lee, Eddie. So now I'd say like my mains are like Eddie and Lee. Maybe basically in most of the things that we do in our family, we're always supposed to be the best. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of pressure because I am not at that level yet, but I try my best. Give me time, I'll be there. Just like they say, slow and steady wins the race.
Aiden was a tricky one, He came in, and as a player, he was just someone who was very, very observant, and he, things. It took a while, but as a player, it was just like really awesome for him to pick up on things very, very quickly. You know what I mean? So his defense and his ability to kind of slow the game down and control the pace of the game was really amazing. If you were someone who wanted to be aggressive and in his face, he'd find a way to counter that aggression. He's not here right now. He's outside elsewhere, doing being the best version of himself.
I'd just like to add on and say that Toro Gaming was one of those places also that helped boost the team a lot as well, because if it wasn't for Toro Gaming, I don't think we would have met all the guys. Mods wouldn't have gotten better. The people like Captain Neo, Reach, and Doctor, Dr. Flamingo is what we call him, Doc Flamingo.
Hi, my name is John Gopak. I go by the gamer tag Ilfang, or I used to. That was back in uni when the boys and I used to play Call of Duty. But ever since joining the Glewstyx boys, they've taken to calling me Dr. Flamingo. So I was having a few matches with Captain Neo, and during the matches he mentioned that he mentioned about Tekken's professional scene, and I mean I didn't even know that was a thing. I knew about professional gaming, but I didn't know Tekken had their own pro scene. So he showed me a few tournament matches, which, not gonna lie, were pretty hype. And then he blew my mind even further by telling me that the Glewstyx boys actually traveled down to Melbourne to take part in one of those tournaments and to represent the country, which I thought was pretty cool. He showed me some of the videos on YouTube of some of the boys' matches, and yeah, it was pretty hype. At that time, the Glewstyx boys used to meet a lot at the Del Toro Gaming Lounge. So we went down one Saturday, and they were playing Tekken 7. It was the first time I saw Tekken 7. I was like, maybe I'll have a few matches with them, probably destroy them, because like I was pretty good at Tekken 6. So I got on one controller and got completely demolished. And someone else came, beat me like very convincingly, and it went like that for the whole day. And when we went back home, I said to Aiden, like, do you have Tekken 7? He said, yeah, I have it on my laptop. Please give me the game like right now. I need that game right now. This was too embarrassing.
Rich was one of those, very quiet, very humble players, and such a cool guy. It's just unfortunate that he's in situations that makes things a little bit difficult for him in terms of life in general. But you can just see that the amount of effort that he puts into playing and trying different characters, his aggressive style of play is just, it pushes everyone to learn, a particular set of characters.
It was through Toro Gaming, where we spent, I'd say, a lot of our time there together, invested a lot of it. We just buy time for 2 controllers and we just played. And then when the next person joined, they just bought more 30 minutes, more 1 hours. And all we did was the loser passed the controller and winner stayed on. Toro Gaming also had various tournaments which popped up, They looked at so many different games, not only Tekken. Toro Gaming had looked at Mortal Kombat. They also looked at Injustice. They looked at the Call of Duty series. And I guess FIFA was the main reason why a lot of people went for Toro Gaming tournaments. Del Toro, put up a lot of prize money and a very decent entry fee for people who wanted to play. And the good thing about these tournaments was you had all walks of life coming. You had, depending on the rating of the game, you had young people coming to play. I mean, we were the older guys that were there. You had people like Yosh who was playing too, and Yosh is, I guess, a generation ahead of us. Also, you had women that came out and played as well. I remember there was this one female Call of Duty player that used to just wreck everyone. She went by the name of She-Wolf. Shout outs to She-Wolf. A lot of guys walked into Toro Gaming thinking they could beat her, and then they all scratching their head like we got beaten by a girl, and we used to call ourselves sharpshooters and whatnot. So we got together and we identified that there were 6 strong men in our team already. The only thing left to do was to make our way down to Melbourne.
You guys ready? Yep. Alright, let's go. Everyone, grab hold of me. Let's go. Next time. Cool. You guys okay? You made it. Joel, you okay? That's the Melbourne Exhibition Centre.
that's where it's all gonna happen.
Finally, Pasin Glewstyx, always making me wait.
Of all the tournaments, we went down for, I just want to say that one was the best.
Welcome back to the Tekken World Tour, featuring a total prize pool of over $185,000. The Tekken World Tour showcases a new global competition format featuring all new tournament categories, Master Plus and Dojo. With over 25 stops worldwide, the Tekken World Tour is returning to some of the biggest fighting game tournaments in the world. And all new locations including Dubai, Cape Town, Athens, and Taipei. Earn Tekken World Tour points to climb up the global leaderboard. Punch your way to the World Finals by combining your best placements in each tournament category.
We had been following Tekken World Tour for a while. And when we found out that, BAM happened to be one of the legs for Tekken World Tour, it was just right that we had to put our strong hand forward, to show that we're also a nation that plays this game. And the first thing I want to say is, ever since we had met the Tekken Australian community, it's just nothing but open arms,
My name's Yuvan, also known as Brown Man. I've been in the FGC for about 10 to 12 years at this point. I'm a player, commentator, and I also help organize a lot of the events around Australia, and I'm primarily based in Victoria. I first met the PNG boys and girls at a Shadowloo maybe 10 years ago now, about 10 to 8 years ago now, and we hit it off, and we've hung out in Melbourne and Sydney, and we always have a great time. I love their energy, I love meeting them. They're always so interesting, so kind, and are just amazing people overall, and they just travel together, and whenever they can, it's hard, but they make it work, and I always love seeing them and always look forward to them, and keep an eye on them, make sure they're all good, make sure they're taken care of, because I always got a lot of love for them, so I want to make sure they're happy. I'll always remember the times that we get to hang out and spend time together playing games, eating food, exploring whatever city we're in. I've got so much footage of us getting those tasty meals, hanging out in random areas, looking at random shops, getting random photos. I always love to see those, and sometimes I see those pop up on my social media feed or memories on social media, and I always just feel really happy when I see them, and I always look forward to the next time. Hopefully that's sooner than later. I'm really hoping that the resources come together for them to come and visit as a unit once again. As I mentioned, a few of them are coming over to different cities to set up new lives, but I want to see them all again together, play some games, have some food, and just have some fun.
A cool thing too was, our promo video there that we did, they actually watched it and they commended us while we were there, like, yo, we watched your video, it's really cool. And then we pointed to Joel, this is the guy that did it, Joel once again, as always, gets hyped out all the time.
When we came out of our apartment where we were staying, and then when I think it was Marcus who was carrying the flag, and then when we started walking, it was a kind of bittersweet but proud moment. I know our country is going through a lot of issues right now and things like that, but in that moment where I was able to represent my home country,
I'd just like to say that when we had arrived, it's not like PNG, you say an event starts at 10, there's nobody there. The gates open at 6 p.m. By 5:30, there was already a line. So, luckily, through our contacts of the Tekken Australia community, one of them came out and decided to assist us. That person was, of course, the Beast, aka RBG. RBG came out and assisted us and brought us in. And it was a long line. We cut everybody and just rocked up, picked up our passes, and just like that, to the indoors.
My mind was blown walking in there, seeing the amount of people that were in the exhibition center in Melbourne. It was amazing. You had all people from all walks of life, all age groups.
Like you walk in and then you can just like talk to anyone. Like anyone comes up to you, we've all said the same passion in fighting game. Such an atmosphere. Even like watching it, we watch a lot of tournaments online, but like being there with the crowd and the energy, it's something else.
You know, you had top players from around the world who were there. You had the likes of the Korean guys that just bashed everyone who was there. You had people like Rang Chu. You know, I'm just sitting there in the room and people like Rang Chu is just walking past me. You had JDCR, people like Ulsan, the guy that I believe he won the Tekken World Tour. Yes, in the year of 2019, he won Tekken World Tour. He actually slept in our room for a few hours because of jet lag. And you seen him, JDCR, a lot of hard hitters as well from Japan, like people like Nobi. I have a long story about Nobi, but we'll talk about that some other time. You had people like you, yeah, who was there as well. Also Noroma, even Chikorean was there. I don't think when they do pools, I think they see us as a not so strong country that plays Tekken, because usually how they do it is they seed their top players or well players. They seed them to like earlier matches or higher matches, I should say, and the weaker players they pair them up with them. I'd like to believe it's done like that, because it was no coincidence that I went up against during that year he had finished 9th place, 1 place short of the biggest fighting game tournament in the world, Tekken. Dion Gray. I had challenged Dion Gray at that time, and I had challenged Dion Gray at that time, and also Tom had to go up against I forgot this fellow's name, but he was in the grand final. Actually, on the previous year, we had gone down to Shadowloo Showdown. JDCR was in Marcus' pool, and Marcus actually was lucky enough to challenge him. But you know, the point was that we were already defeated mentally, because we're going up against big name players, and I challenged Dion Gray there. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I spoke to Juven before we were gonna have that match, and I was telling him that at least if I get a round off of him, I'll be happy, because I was already defeated. Because this guy was in Evo. Anyone you can think of that plays Tekken in the world, I'm gonna be there. And he made it to 9th place. That's like one shot of watching the top 8. And that was an amazing thing to do. Not a lot of people can do that.
When I saw Mala lose on street, oh my god, I was like, please, I don't want to be the next person up on the stream. But it was good. Yeah. It was sad to see him lose, but it was a proud moment to also see him represent the country on the street.
However, although we were defeated, we had one more match left. Neon Sky was gonna take the stage again.
The controller that I had was started to play up on the day. I had to use somebody else's controller. I think I borrowed either Tommy's or Isaac's, one of them.
Oh. He was fighting a Dragonov player, so it was gonna be a tough one. Joel's also a Nina player, which kind of rare in tournaments.
Launcher, here comes the combo. Final round, game 1.
Combo. But Neon Sky does look a lot more comfortable right now.
The hardest thing probably after getting rid of your nerves, I was to readjust my combos, because I couldn't maximize on the damages that I was doing. The usual combos that I was doing, I kept dropping it every time.
Right now.
Oh, counter and wipe the floor into another one. No, he should have had the round there.
I started to feel a bit more comfortable because I could see that he started playing a bit more defensive.
You can see him just holding back, a little bit worried here. But I think Neon Sky's picked up on that, and he's like, all right, that's it. I'm going in. Like, I'm going to hit you with everything I can.
I know he must have been nervous as hell to be at his best that he could. But for him to get the win and you'll really, it was a really awesome feeling.
The chunky damage.
Don't check, that should
it.
do it.
Oh, PNG screaming their lungs out there.
Joel did his best and Joel won. And I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those guys because we have a code when we go to Australia tournaments. And the moment we arrive at the airport, everyone automatically switches to talk fishing. So I know I was in the crowd and I was going, you sabi na you yeah. You friend lo have something
Glewstyx, boy. PNG FGC.
Oh yeah, this spell is super weird.
He was so happy also. He had come down. At the end of the tournament, we didn't do so well, but I'm sure, just like every other tournament, everyone brought home something, and the important thing is more experience, and also we brought back friendship also from Australia community because they still check up on us every now and then. If we're ever gonna go back down, the biggest impact that we have done participating in these tournaments is that I believe the creators and the organizers of tournaments always took tabs on countries that went and played. So if you go and you look up the Tekken World Tour website, in the past it used to be Asia Pacific. So Asia Pacific had the countries from the Pacific and Asia in there as well. So like you'll find like maybe Japan in there, find China in there, you'll come back a bit, you'll find Philippines, Thailand, those countries. You'll come back and you'll find Australia and also New Zealand in that category. But because another country kept participating since 2014 and they have this in the database, now it's no longer Asia Pacific. There's a category of its own, and that category is the Oceanic region. And the Oceanic region has 3 countries now in it, and that's Australia, New Zealand, and you guessed it, Papua New Guinea. I just want to say that I honestly do not know the future of Glewstyx. It's not like before where all of us were together, a lot of things happened to all of us, lifestyles have changed, we have lost loved ones, different circumstances were part of our lives that really brought us away from each other. People have left town also. Most of our hard hitters aren't here. You got one in Fiji, you got someone else in Canberra, you got someone else in Kimbe, and the main group is not here like they used to be. But I'll tell you this much for sure. Even though I'm saying this to you guys that I don't know what the future holds, Tasty Steve, not in the exact words, but he told everyone, don't let this person stop playing Tekken ever. So all I'm gonna say is our time is still coming, and you can count it that Glewstyx is still going to be part of the tournament.